Yes, indeed. Those were the days. You were so young then. Ah, let's play on. That's a nice move. Oh, hello, Mr. Sharma. Meet my grandson.
Nice meeting you,
He's
son.
come from Bangalore. He has come to visit his old grandfather and very conveniently brought a case of good local red wine. You're just in time to join us. Please do.
I'm very glad a good friend like you is taking care of grandfather. Sometimes I worry at his living all alone, but he doesn't want to move and says he's quite happy in his old home.
Oh, my grandson is very good. A kind fellow, not like his dad. I have not seen Gopal for nearly 30 years since he involved me in. And apart from writing a few formal letters saying how sorry he is for all the trouble, he has just not bothered. I'm afraid I can say no more.
Oh, that's not fair, granddad. Whenever I see in America, he does inquire very eagerly about you and has sent money from time to time, whatever he could afford. He's worried that if he comes to see you, there may be some problem with the Indian police. You know that.
The Indian police? Have the police of any country stopped me from going wherever I want? Or doing anything I want to? No. That's the difference between a revolutionary and a sneaky businessman. But I admit, some of it is my fault as well. I was not around when he was growing up, and boys without their fathers don't fare well. Oh, Mr. Sharma, do you remember Sir Umair Khan, whom I met in London during the roundtable conferences?
Yeah.
Well, poor Poonam was in the same household. She was a great cook.
Hmm.
No, it was natural that our falling into love. Sir Umair had us married, and she returned to India, but I stayed back. I had some work in London. When Gopal was born, she took the baby to see my folks in Madras and stayed with them for a while. But since I could not return back, she went back to Punjab, leaving behind Gopal. He grew up wayward.
Did you ever find out what happened to grandmother?
I lost track. I was always hoping to bring her back home after the independence, but then partition occurred. I heard she had died, but others said she embraced Islam and married someone local. I hope she's still alive. And one day you may visit her and find yourself a good, strong Punjabi wife in Pakistan. And let us drink to that.
Yeah. What a colorful life you have had, my friend. If only I had a tenth of your experiences.
Oh, you would regret it. This fellow's father landed me in jail. Have I never told you of that story? It's an object lesson not to be too trusting, even with your own son. Ashok, my good fellow, open another bottle. I'm afraid this is going down too quick. One day in 1971, I was sitting here quietly when I received a long letter from Gopal saying that I must come to America. He was longing to see me. He had made money. He could live in luxury and so on and so forth. Then within 2 days, Air India calls me and says they have a ticket for me to go to United States. I had not been there since the 50s. In any case, I wanted to see my dear son. So I went. He was staying in New Jersey. Very comfortable apartment, I can tell you. And we had very good times together. The fellow drove me all over the place, took me to the best restaurants. America is a land of business, and he was a successful paints business. Importing, exporting, that sort of a thing. My walls, shabby. But out west, everyone is very particular about shades of color. So, a paints business is a very good business to be in.
Well, Dad is no longer in it. Now he imports spices.
Which is what he would have done in the first place, instead of getting into some shady deal. Anyway, after 6 weeks or so, he started saying he wanted me to go and meet my folks in Europe. He had arranged everything with the travel agency. 2 weeks in the capitals of Europe, all paid. It was the most wonderful, thoughtful gesture. How could I say no? So I graciously accepted. The night before I left, he gave me a file of papers all about paints. latest specifications, he said, about a new system. And would I hand it to a business colleague in Amsterdam? Mind you, I did look into them, just to make sure, but it was very technical, so I said yes, of course. That was my biggest mistake.
Why, sir? What happened?
Ashok here, of course, knows the whole story. Don't you, Ashok?
I see.
I was arrested at JFK
Yeah.
airport as a spy by the FBI. It seems those specs I was wearing were some kind of a military secret. How could there be anything secret about paints? In the court, naturally I said I was innocent. The papers had been dumped on me and so on and so forth. But I would not tell them who gave them to me. I could not betray my own son. So I took the rap. The FBI had my record and decided I was with the Russians. Me? If they had said the Chinese, they would have been closer to the truth. Anyway, I was in jail. Nasty business, just like you see in films. But the civil rights people were very active and pleaded since I was an old man, I was 70 then, I should be transferred to one of those new model prisons. That's how I met Claude.
Grandfather, if you are going to tell us the whole story, you may as well tell it properly.
Oh yes, indeed I will. I was transferred to the Virginia State Penitentiary, which had made a name for itself for a progressive place for correction, not just punishment. It had a huge chess club going. The governor himself was devoted to chess. So naturally, I was sent there. The champion prisoner was Claude Bloodgood. Actually, he was a Mexican. Clogus Bloodgood something. But you know the Americans, they anglicize every name. I became Ram. Ram? Claude was a really good player. Later, I heard that by 1996, he was ranked second only to Gata Kamsi. So you see, he was good. And he was a good organizer of tournaments also. He and I became thick friends and kept up our correspondence till he died a few years ago. Poor Claude. He was there, poor fellow, because in a family quarrel in the heat of a moment, he did something and someone died. He was in there for life, but everyone liked him, especially the governor, who was very proud of his ward. I can tell you, Claude in his lifetime played over 3,000 games and won over 90% of them. Here's to Claude. Great chess player, great escaper.
What escape?
Aha!